Welcome to O-Talkin' with Dave. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, what's going on out there? Hope you're doing well. I am top shelf. Loving it. I've got so much going on. A week ago, tomorrow I go to SoCal. I'll probably do a video, but a few days ago, I was in northern Nevada. It was 3 degrees. I don't like any temperature lower than my age. So that was seriously, but I'm thinking, what is this Celsius? What's happening? Then I come down to Vegas and we had a gorgeous weekend. It was, February 2nd, 3rd, sometime like that. 75, 76 degrees. So tomorrow I'm headed to SoCal. I'm going to look at the ocean. I'm going to look at the old man, the big daddy. It's good to be Dave sometimes. I'm not bragging. Some people don't like bragging. Some people will judge you for that. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying what's on my mind. It's what I do. But some people have their opinions or judgments or their little comments or their looks or their insults. Those that are brave enough to say it out loud. Some running commentary. Mean girl stuff. Yeah, well, I've developed a saying, and honestly, I don't know if I came up with it. I've even Googled it. I've asked friends, and they said, no, you've just always said that. I want to give credit where credit's due, though. I think I started saying this around 2001 in Chattanooga. So I don't know if Kathy and Ronnie and all those guys had something to do with it, or if they came up with it. But the phrase is, they can just hump on Bobo's nose. What? So, it's funny. I've said it a billion times, and I don't exaggerate. Just hump on Bobo's nose. They don't like it? Tell them to go hump on Bobo's nose. And it's a funny way of saying, they're going to act that way. Shouldn't affect you. You're going to do what you're going to do. Don't let it bother you. Let them live their life. You live yours. So it's just... It's a way to just move on and not be triggered, which is great. So I've heard myself saying this over and over. Plus, it's fun to say, and I've said it to people about them. Go hump on Bobo's nose, and then while they're trying to figure out what you were talking about, you just go your own way, or keep thriving, keep doing what you want to do, saying what you want to say. Don't let it bother you. There are a couple of caveats, but not many. You are the judge, the jury of what you let get to you. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And some may be saying, well, Dave, how's this different from glorious ambivalence? Well, it's subtle. The differences are subtle. I'd say it's close. It's a first cousin to glorious ambivalence. But glorious ambivalence is more of, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to say what I feel like I have to say. And if people don't like it, all right. We don't have to be enemies. We can still travel in the same circles, but I'm not going to say it just because I'm afraid of how they're going to react. Humping on Bobo's nose deals with people's reaction already. It's a little different. It's a as-you-go type deal to where, someone, a certain look, a certain, you can predict it. However, this is as you're doing something, someone says something, or you get a look, or all the things I said before. Don't let it bother you. They're living their life, you live your life, and we'll go along. So that's what we're going to talk about. This is an as-you-go mentality, because a lot of people have great plans, and then the first response or the first resistance or the first conflict, they throw their plans away and go a different route or go along with what someone else wanted to do. Psh, that's not what I'm talking about. You make fun of me, please. It's not going to change what I feel strongly about. Now, certain people, if they've if they're trying to help me. So it's a lot of it is in the intent. But for most people, those people who really don't care or have jealousy or you're vying for the same thing or they want attention and you're getting it. Yeah, if they're coming at you, let them come at you. But don't let them affect you. So I tell you one thing, I'll say this about my daughter. She was always, still is, but growing up, she was always a free spirit. I mean, from the time she could walk, probably even before, she was dancing. She was doing what she wanted to do. As most girls do, little girls, they'll go in another room and they'll dress up. Maybe my wife always had some clothes and some old stuff that Vic could play dress up. And you never knew. She could be a princess. She may come out overalls. You just never know. It may be in overalls with a big hat and jewelry and 2 different high heel shoes. You just never knew. And if she wanted to go play football in the yard, well, she went dressed like that. It did not matter. Did not matter. And then you get up into the elementary school years. I remember one day, and I don't know the details. I may mess it up, but you'll get the story. My wife, very intelligent woman. Some days though, she was raising 2 kids. I was traveling a lot, so she had to coordinate kids, 2 grades apart. And sometimes she got the schedules mixed up. So one day she thought pajama day at school. So she took the kids, both kids, in their pajamas, probably 3rd grade, 1st grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. I don't know. Anyway, it was not pajama day for Victoria's class. So Vic shows up in her pajamas, the only kid in their pajamas. Most kids would have been embarrassed. Mother, you embarrassed me. Nope. Vic said, sweet. I couldn't be in any more comfortable clothing. I look fabulous in my pajamas. Somebody might have had the guts to make fun of her or what. She didn't care. It was fine. Yeah. Yeah, you're making fun of me? Yeah, look how comfortable I am. Look at my shoes. Look at my little fuzzy slippers. And then later on, she would do what she wanted to do. She was never the most, some people consider her to have no pigment. She's so white. Bless her heart, she got my Irish skin. But hey, man, if she fixed that, she'll go get a spray tan. She leaves white as snow and comes back some color in the 64 crayon pack. It probably started out a little, maybe some brick brown and ended up turning to orange. She didn't care. She didn't care. Dancing. She didn't care. Girls have been dancing longer than her. She'd go right. Oh, and in college, I heard them talking about it the other day. And I'm not aware of it. And if this affects you racially, I'm sorry. But most, stomping as a form of expression, mostly by black students in her school. She got out there and she was putting up a stomp, man. She didn't care. That's what she wanted to do. And as people criticize, now she's got a fiery temper. And so, you may criticize her and she may not tell you to hump on Bobo's nose. She may take care of your nose. I love and still love her free spirit of doing, this is what I want to do. Never mind all that. It's almost, you can, instead of, if you don't want to say hump on Bobo's nose, here's a great one. So? Yeah, you look stupid doing it. So? I'm a-doing it. And so, I thought about just growing up. You think about it growing up, and people talk about how that's how you learn your social skills or you don't learn them. But as a teenager, man, it's so tough. You're going through all this stuff, boy or girl, puberty, all that stuff. My goodness, I didn't wear name brand shoes till I bought a pair. I wore pants. I didn't have hand-me-downs because I didn't have an older brother, so I would wear pants. Mama would take me to get 4 pair of pants at the beginning of the school year. What? That's like Christmas. Yeah, we would go to the dollar store and get 4 pair of jeans, and that's got to last me all year. By the end of the year, those things had more patches on them. I think they were put together with patches by the end of the year, and they were too short for me by the end of the year. They were probably a little long. We even cuffed them at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, I got made fun of. Yeah, that's fine. I get it. But, they talk about you go through and you learn to deal with that. And that's how you learn to deal with that in adult life. I got to tell you, it's easy then compared to adult life, in my opinion. Back then, everybody's making fun of somebody. And people are mean. They are so mean. And you learn about, and the ones that are happiest, earliest, are the ones that in their mind are like, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, well, that may be the case. You can go hump on Bobo's nose. Yeah, maybe my weight is crazy. Maybe I'm too fat. Maybe I'm too skinny. You get on people for being too short or too tall. A lot of the clothing things. Hey, I used to have, and I've said this many times, I used to have so much hair. Oh, yes. My mom would cut it, the oatmeal bowl haircut, boom, the bangs. She had, it's awful. The only person worse at cutting hair was me when I butchered my son's hair one time. But, you cut your own hair. I had bangs. I had a mullet, and then I had, in my 20s, had evangelist hair. And then God finally just said, look, you don't know what you're doing with this. I'm just going to take it, So I've got made fun of with my hair my whole life. It's part of it. You different. I talk about being white. I can tan. I shed my skin a couple of times a year, though, because I'll get burned. But different physical features, people are mean, and you think it stops as a kid? Oh no! Now I'm going to confess something to you. My wife and I will go into public, and we have a good time. We really do. We laugh with each other more than most couples I know, and a lot of times it's just between us though. We'll look at an older couple, or an older man, or an older woman. And we'll say, that's you in 5 years. And it's okay, now I'll find you. It's just a little game we play. We don't mean to be making fun of them, and we wouldn't do it to their face. A lot of people will do it to your face. I've got stories where people have made fun of me, and then I will tell them I'll make up a story about my sickness or whatever to make them feel bad. It never affects me, and you shouldn't let it affect you. If it bothers you that much and you can do something about it, well, you should for yourself, not for that person, Okay, yeah, I'm that way, so? And keep going. The thing is, most of the time, they don't do it to your face. You can talk about, I get a lot, and this sounds like I'm paranoid as I'm doing this, but I'm not. I'm telling you, I face it all the time. But you could be judged or insulted by your perceived intelligence level. I love that. But education, please, education. You might, just because you've got a degree doesn't mean you're more educated than anybody. The vocabulary we use. We were watching a crime drama show. You'd think I'd learn. The other night, nothing was on. Football's gone, practically, and nothing was on a Monday night. And I was sliding through the channels, and it said, what was it? Deep fried homicide. My wife, as you know, I think she's trying to kill me. She loves the crime dramas. I was sleepy, and so we got in bed and turned that on, and it was, it was people from the South, of course, but the narrator was clearly not from the South, but you could tell by the script they were using Southern words and some Southern colloquialisms, and that entertained me, because here this person is, a trained orator, he wasn't really making fun, but in a way he was, because that's somebody, whoever wrote his script, thought that's how we talk. Didn't take it personal. We thought it made it more entertaining. Whereas I know some people, it's like, well, they're making fun of us. What are they doing? You got different levels of that. Just because you're new at a job doesn't mean you're not more qualified than everybody else. Just because you don't know this doesn't mean you don't know so much more. It doesn't matter. Don't let people define you or define your answers. The best response is so, or it so almost implies, well, yeah, that may be true, but it ain't true. Hump on Bobo's nose. That's ridiculous. And you've got your different social status. Oh, these people that are obsessed with name brands, Louis Vuittons, and the car they drive. At one point, when I lived in Orange County, I found out that 80% of the houses bought, this is right before the bubble burst in 2008, 2009, 80% of the houses were being bought interest only. Meaning they're just kicking the can, and a lot of them got bit by that. But they wanted a certain house in a certain neighborhood because it looked good and it's the status. 80% of the cars, the luxury cars, were leased. They didn't own those cars. But because they weren't self-confident enough to where they could answer those questions. They wouldn't get to go to certain parties. They wouldn't be able to do this. And hopefully we learned that early on, but to be made fun of, oh my goodness. I've driven up to a tennis tournament in a rusted 1978 Chevy Love truck with a stolen towel and a borrowed tennis racket. Yeah. And I didn't win a lot of them, but I was underestimated until I won a few, and then people started to say, oh, don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you. And that's the sweetness, is when you can be judged and then you show them, hey, I am a worthy adversary. A lot of things just in your relationship status. I hate to see this. I hate it to see, and I'm using the word hate, people judge somebody if they are married or if they're not married, if they have kids or if they don't have kids, and to push it in someone's face. I know there for a while, we were the first to get married of all of our friends, pretty much, maybe one or two others. And then when everybody was getting married, we were the first to have kids. And so we weren't judged because of that necessarily. However, we might not have been invited to certain things because, we can't go because of the kid. Or can we bring the kid? As well, can we bring him? And sometimes it's just not right. So you have to deal with some of those things. However, some people will actually ridicule and make fun of people. I don't know what I would do if I was single right now. I don't know. I would wander around for a few days, just walking the streets of Vegas. That uncertainty, though, keeps me from judging people who are on a dating app or who just don't go out, or people who are dating tons of people. I get that too. Yeah, I get all of that. But some people judge others on that, and it's hurtful. Somebody that is at a vulnerable place, it can affect them very strongly. And one of the reasons you may be asking yourself, well, yeah, that's common sense, Dave. I've got a lot of feedback on some of this. This is a response to how do I deal when some people are just so mean. And the problem is, a lot of times, they don't said to them directly. They know they've been the topic of, a sidebar, water cooler talk. They went out and didn't invite me, and then, boy, they really had fun at my expense. No, they didn't. I don't care. There's nothing. People that are really close to me, I may say something that could hurt my feelings, but I don't think so. They definitely can't offend me. Yeah, it could hurt my feelings, but they can't offend me. But then a lot of times when you have success or failure, people are gonna get out the daggers, because most of this time it's either jealousy, their own insecurity, or they just want to tear you down. Maybe they have a true vendetta. I don't know. I've been going to I'm doing that 60 days till I'm 60 years old. And I am officially in day 8. And so I've been going to we got a gym locally, and I'm dabbling in that. I don't really like gyms. No, nothing against them. It's just I probably have memberships in gyms from 20 years ago. I forgot to cancel them. Anyway, I know I really don't stick to that because I find other ways to exercise. It's a good way to get me started. So I know it's the beginning of the year still. And I go in there and I'm seeing every body type. Every body type. Also, you can tell the people who've been going for a while, and there's that look they give you. And I like it. It's almost like the people in first class when you're walking back to your coach seat. They're giving you that look. They may even, I don't know how they do it. They even do something they do, and they, flex their boobs at you. I'd like to think they're flexing their boobs at me. Yeah. Morning, ma'am. That kind of thing. Anyway, it's just the dynamic. Some are going to maybe meet someone. My wife started kickboxing, and I read an article where the number one place where people find a place to have an affair is at the gym. My wife is fit, and now she's gone to a gym. I'm thinking, oh, I'm on to you. So I joined one. And so I've been going, and it's just a little microcosm. I probably won't stay there long. However, it is such a source for people watching and seeing the dynamic. I mean, here I am. I'm a 60-year-old guy up on the treadmill doing my thing. Yeah, there's TVs, and I got my AirPods in, and I am in my own little world. And then I'll notice something, and I'll watch this dynamic, and then I'll go. I'm trying to rehab my shoulder, so I'm doing a little, light dumbbell work, and then I go sit in the sauna. That's my favorite cardio. Sitting in a hot sauna and sweating like a sumo wrestler. It's fantastic. However, the judgment from the time you walk in, bless his heart, he's probably on some rehabilitation doctor-ordered old man thing. I don't care. You don't like it? Nah, that's all right. You criticize it, hump on Bobo's nose. I'm not even sitting at home, And then I think some of the worst is the cultural stuff. And, we can call racial or ethnicity and all that. Also, where you're from. Where you're from. You'll either get excused for something or crucified for it based on where you're from. And I've gone over that in a lot of them. I'm oblivious to it now. I went and saw a hilarious comedian over the weekend. His name's Quindale. He's controversial in that he's so controversial because he'll say everything. It doesn't matter. You're not safe. Man, woman, old, young, black, white, brown, every color in the spectrum. And we were standing in line, and I noticed in the line going all the way around the corner, every race, creed, United Nations had less diversity than this crowd. And you don't just these tickets weren't cheap, and you don't just happen to go in there. These people knew him. They knew what he was going to talk about. They knew he was going to talk about their blackness or their whiteness or their oldness or their womanhood or whatever. They didn't care, and that's why I loved it so much. That's the way I think we need to be, because it's freeing. It's so freeing. You don't like it? Go hump on Bobo's nose. So when you're facing that, I mean, you can tell yourself things. I believe in, we all have weak moments where it might bother us more than one, but some of the things that you can tell yourself in this, hey, your words can't touch me. I know what I'm worth. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. When you hear it, or even a look, have something, let that trigger something in you, and it can it's funny to me. I'm not giving away my power. I heard a smart dude one time talk about that. I choose to be this way. You be confident in who you are. Look, a lot of times you don't even know these people. I don't know you, but I know one thing. I don't need your approval. Your negativity right now tells me a whole lot more about you than it does me. And so whatever you can grab and just hold on to that. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. Right now I'm proving something to myself. This is something I want to do. This is something I want to wear. This is somewhere I want to go. I at one point, I grew up in church. I grew up in, again, in the Baptist church, it's not your ability, it's your availability. I think we've talked about that. David Ring, I think, the first one I ever heard coin that phrase. However, we sang a lot. And I learned early on that, like Mark Cohen, the Walking in Memphis guy. I grew up in a white church. You find out, black church, they worship the same God, but they worship differently. And they do it for a long time. So there were times where we would trade out. We would go, do for singing stuff. And, they sing for a while. And then, the black churches I visited, they'll sing for a while and they'll preach for a while. And then the preaching and the singing and the organ and the music, it all comes together. And then they'll sing some more. And then they'll come back and pray. Who is to say who's right or who's wrong? Another thing, I grew up Baptist. Well, we moved and we visited a Methodist church. Then we visited a non-denominational church. And then we've done a lot of that. And my mom was not happy about that, just so you know. She was not pleased. She wanted me to be Southern Baptist, King James Version only. I think maybe at one time she was hoping that I'd be a preacher, but then she saw how shy I was as a kid. And then later when I started talking, she was afraid I would become a preacher. Because, what's he going to say? But my point is, no matter what church we went to, no matter how they worshiped, no matter how they did anything, and this is not about religion. Don't worry, I'm not going to pass the offering plate or have an invitation at the end. No, I may do an invitation. But no matter which one, I would say, Mom, I've been to this, and this. And whenever I prayed, it was to the same God. And she, I don't know, I think that made her proud, but I was not going to be defined. I wanted to do this. I wanted to go over here. I wanted to do that. And I don't care what anybody, including my mom, says. You think I'm going to let your opinion looking down your nose at me? This is why Karens don't affect me at all. Let me hold back on that. They don't affect me negatively. They give me a target. And see, that's my weakness. Sometimes I will use that. What is that? There's some martial art. I think Steven Seagal uses it where you take a person's momentum and use it against them. I don't know what it is. If you know, put it on the email. But it's so cool. So that's a lot of times what I will do socially is when someone is being over the top Karen, over the top woke, over the top critical, even to somebody that's taking it, I'll take it to a certain point and then, all right. And then I'll make a comment and move on. Don't let it affect me. Now, true hump on Bobo's nose philosophy would be just let it go. Let them do it. However, there are times when it brings out the daggers. And here's the thing. Here's the one thing I've learned about people that are going to judge, try to discredit, be negative toward you in some way, either to your face or to others. You know what? they're going to think it or do it anyway. If someone doesn't like you, they're going to pick you apart. If there's someone against you, they're going to find fault in what you're doing, no matter what you're doing. I've noticed this, and I don't want to talk politics, but I have to. I've noticed this. No matter what side you're on, when you watch news, Fox, CNN, whatever you want, no matter what a Democrat says, the Democrats are going to stay behind him and justify him. Whatever the Republican says, the Republicans, for the most part, are going to stand behind him. And they defend whatever their position. You think, how in the world are you doing this? That's the way critical people are. Hey, they're going to pick something out. You know, you chose to do this. If you can't take the criticism, then that's a skill or a temperament you have to build. But when someone remains unaffected by that, you know, the judgment, the ridiculing, insults, and insults can come in all forms. They have certain characteristics. And these are characteristics that you can build on all of these. And the first one is self-confidence. To let someone do that and handle it with class and move on, that's a confident person. You know, that's someone who knows their worth. They know their place. I don't like the term comfortable in their own skin because what the heck does that mean? But it's a person who they don't need the approval of everybody. And so that's what I encourage younger people to obtain. But I find older people, many times, still, they don't have that self-confidence. And I'm talking overall. I'm not saying you need self-confidence to get up and sing to a group. Well, no. Even people with great singing voices, some of them, they just can't do it. Just because, my granddad said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Well, he said that to me a lot. But that self-confidence, not being affected by it. And I think over time, it brings up the second thing. That's emotional resilience. Emotional resilience. I probably talk about resilience on just about every one of these. Now, I got 104, 106, I don't know how many now. Almost all of them, because it's that toughness. I can handle criticism without it shaking me. I can. Depending on who the criticism's coming from and what it's about, I handle it better sometimes than others. But being emotionally resilient, I can handle that criticism. And it's not going to shake my resolve or my self-esteem. Okay, I heard you. That also with the self-confidence, these kind of people who can take this are very self-aware. They usually know their strengths and weaknesses and stay in that sweet spot. You know, this is not the Michael Jordan that quit and played baseball. No. He had other things going on in his life that caused him to do that. But being self-aware enough to know your strengths and weaknesses. Now, I will say this. You look at, I'll use Tiger Woods, for example, number one player in the world for a record number of weeks. Well, right in the middle of that, he decided to change his swing. He was self-aware enough to know what I'm doing has a shelf life, and I'm going to have to change this. It's going to cause me to lose a few tournaments. It's going to drive the commentators crazy. I've got so many haters out there. They're going to jump on top of this. And we did. I didn't like him at the time either. But he knew that going into it. Didn't let it bother him. He was confident. He was resilient, and he was aware of what he had to do at that time. To me, it is a great example. Also, these people who don't bow down to critics, they have empathy. And get this is a tough one. They know. They are confident, they're tough, they're self-aware enough to know that if you're throwing shade, listen to me. If you're criticizing or running me down or talking behind my back, they have empathy. Wow, how miserable that person must be to where they're spending their time trying to demean another person or demean me. They just don't take it personally, and they feel sorry for someone who is in that place. It's almost like, if you ever not been in a hurry, let's take traffic for example, and you see somebody that's they're just frantic and I feel sorry for them. I get agitated, but I feel sorry for them because remember what it's like to be that. I'm not in that place right now. I'm not in a hurry, but oh man, they're running late. They could lose their job. Maybe it's something else. Maybe their child or whatever. And I start thinking about all these things. They must really be in a bad place. That's the way the strong person feels about the one that's lashing out in some way. And then the last thing I will say is these people, they have a very strong sense of purpose. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. And they're more focused on that than the other stuff. You know, it can be all the way to, this is a second step in a 100-step process. Yeah, that's all right. They're disciplined enough to where they know I'm going to get there. You know, their values are stronger than little setbacks. So it makes them so much less concerned with other people, with what other people think. And so much of this is going unspoken. Some people are cowards. They're not going to say it, but they'll think it. And those insecure people make up these thoughts, whether they're there or not. So let's go back again. It's the self-confidence, emotionally resilient, they're self-aware, they're empathetic to those that are throwing the negatives, and they have a purpose. So those are 5 things that anybody can work on. Anybody can work on. Well, David, I don't really have a purpose. Well, okay, we got something coming up on purpose. All the others, you're either in it, you're going to go through it, or you've been through it, but you can build on those things. And just think about it. To help you with that number 4, the empathy, let's think about the kind of people who are doing this. And usually the people that are doing this, it's not a one and done. It's their personality. You know who they are. You want to take a second and think of them? You don't even have to take a second. Boom, 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 like Morse code. Yeah, they're around us. And they're usually being held back by something. But they have their own characteristics. First of all, they are insecure. Now you hear this. I remember Mom saying, well, they're just jealous, or, they're just worried about this, or what, They put them, they put others down just to lift themselves up. And it is an insecurity. It could be for different reasons. What they have is, especially if they're talking to others, unlike the person, ironically, that's being run down or talked about, these people they don't have that sense of empathy. You don't care about the impact that this has on other people. I've never seen the movie Mean Girls, but I know some mean girls. Whew. I've had sleepovers at my house when my daughter was, young and early teens. Nothing more vicious than a teenage girl. They show a lack of empathy. And that's immaturity at that age. Hopefully they grow out of it. I could give you many examples of Karens that never grew out of it. But so they're insecure. They don't have empathy. They're coming out with the claws. And because they need some sort of control or power. They criticize somebody else. All right, now I've got some sort of dominance above them because that's why you have snitches. They got a secret. Oh, I got a secret. Oh, what's the secret? Oh, and then they'll tell you the secret. Once they tell you the secret, it's gone. So they may taunt you with that secret because they want the attention. They want some power. That's why ignoring them pulls all the oxygen out of that situation. Love it. Usually they're negative because they're looking for something negative. They're looking for a flaw. They're looking for one of your mistakes. So that's why they're negative. They have a negative mindset. And so many times they're just projecting. It could be their own fears or weaknesses or frustrations. So they push them on you. That's just a political tactic as well. I'm doing it, but I'm going to accuse him of doing it, so it distracts. But see, all of those things, that insecurity, that lack of empathy, needing control, being negative, and projecting your problems or your weaknesses on somebody else. What a horrible existence. And that's why hopefully most of us get over this. We don't. You can think of people right now, I don't care what age you are, this is what they do. This is what they do. It may be because for selfish reasons, or it may be for jealous reasons. They're going to take you down. And a lot, there's a quick tag you can tell. When someone's speaking positive of someone that's not there, the yeah but. Yeah but. I've talked about the but. The yeah but. So you're speaking positive. Yeah, oh man, he's so much fun to be around. Every time I'm around him, I have a good time. I always go away feeling better than, yeah. And then, yeah, but he beats his dog. Yeah. Yeah. But he's probably a serial killer. Yeah. Yeah, he's funny. But they say that's just a cry for help. The yeah buts. This is a person that you need to watch out for. It's either personal or they just need to be better. I don't care. Either way, that person can go hump on Bobo's nose. As a kid, I was so painfully shy. Now I'll even take up for others. If I see it, I outlined that in one of the previous ones. If I see someone picking on someone, and not so much physically, but, if I'm in a meeting and people are discounting someone else's ideas, I may just join them. What am I going to say? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard, but I'm not going to let them get away with bullying this person. So, we'll work through it. That is not necessarily the best thing because that person needs to grow and learn to do these. Get these things that I said earlier, more self-confidence or whatever. But I don't like for other people to be picked on. You can pick on me all day long. I may or may not take it with a grain of salt. It's not going to change my opinion, ideas, or trajectory. However, I can't stand it when somebody picks on someone weaker than them or perceived to be weaker. That's another one of my flaws that I've got to work on. So what really helped me is when the glorious ambivalence entered my life. It made everything easier, made it better, more stress-free. So the way to deal with this and get some momentum with this, and I don't care who you are, there's times when something's going to happen. It might not be some bully kicking sand in your face. It's the little things, or maybe it's the perception that someone is doing. You ever feel yourself in a bad mood and it comes back to, oh, well, it could be this, it could be that. There's some things we can do that helps. Well, it requires a mix of emotional intelligence and some strategery. There's how you handle stuff like that. The first thing, I don't know. I think on my tombstone, if I ever were to perish, the first thing would, he didn't stay calm. I always tell people, stay calm. First thing is, stay calm. So when you're in that situation, whether it's verbal nonverbal or perceived, stay calm, because calmness and confidence is the same thing. They want a reaction. They're trying to trigger you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't give it to them. Don't emotionally let it. Just keep your composure. It prevents them from gaining control of your emotions and gaining momentum. Because especially if it's in a crowd, be confident. And yeah, Dave, what if I'm not confident? Okay, then stay calm. Because calmness seems like confidence. And over time you will. And as that calmness takes over you, confidence will come back. And then you set the boundaries. You let them know. I mean, if you need to respond, I don't appreciate that. I don't let anybody talk to me that way, and I'm sure not going to let you. Whatever. Let them know it's unacceptable. There's a quick three-word thing. If somebody's making fun, and I said this in another podcast, and I've heard it in different ways, but if someone says something and you need to address it, make them repeat it. Can you say that again? What you just said. Make them repeat it. And then let them know, was you trying to be funny or sarcastic? Or was that supposed to be humorous? And then whatever they say, they know. If they were in a group, now you've put them on alert. You've asked them, was that trying to be funny or what are you doing? You trying to hurt me? And then no matter what they say, just let it go. That will give you more confidence because they're going to back up. They may not, but chances are they are. And then boom, you've set the stage. It may be, and here's one thing that is probably the best thing to do. Be confident. Just look at them, make eye contact, and say nothing. Just ignore it. Go back to whatever we were doing. That's probably the best thing. That's the hardest for me. That's one of it. But don't take it personally. It is a snapshot of your day. What if someone was taking pictures of you all day long? Boom, boom, boom. I feel sorry for that person if they're doing that to me. And you look at the whole day. That's just a couple of shots. And you're going to let that affect your whole day? Nah. No. If they're living in your head, day one, move on. Turn the page. Don't go back to that one. Don't take it personally. Think about it. Okay, I need to work on my confidence. I need to work on my toughness. But one thing I know, they're not a happy person. Their negativity's not going to make me an unhappy person. So, and just think, you can even think about it. Hold a mirror up. You don't have a mirror. If you have a mirror, then we got other problems. But it's as if just hold that mirror up and reflect what they look like in your mind. Don't take it personally. Now, it's always been my deal, and it's got me in a lot of trouble growing up. But using humor to disengage. Make a sarcastic remark or, a lot of times you can just walk away. A lot of times it's, think of something humor. If I had the energy to deal with you, I probably still wouldn't. Or, my mama told me, or, Papa always said, whatever. And sometimes if they're making fun of you from being a Southerner, kick that Southern accent up. Oh, I've told stories about it. I did that in New York a few times. But use humor or disengage. Let them know. You didn't get to me. You didn't get to me. You know what? If we're going to fight, I need to go stretch first. So I'm going to go in the other room. I got to take my shoes off to stretch, and I got on dirty socks. Whatever. The main thing is, though, surround yourself with positive people. One thing with all of the times I've had and all the culture changes that I've been through, I surrounded myself with positive people. I found the people that liked me or the people that agreed with me or the people didn't like me or agree with me, but they had confidence that I was headed in the right direction. And the crazy thing is, I get paid for doing that now. Blows my mind. So ultimately, you respond depending on the situation, but stay calm. Stay calm. Calmness is confidence. Set the boundaries. Let them know, hey, that's a good warning shot there, buddy. Good warning shot. Don't do it again. Don't take it personally. It's their problem, not yours. And then I use humor. Some people don't use humor. Sometimes it's just best just to walk away. Nah, I don't like where this is going. And you know what? I'm just going to walk away. And then surround yourself with positive people. People who appreciate you. People who will tell you, yeah, you're not too good at this. You're better than you were, and you're going to be better than it now. But right now, see, that's not ridicule. That's good. That's somebody helping you out, patting you on the back, spotting you. You know, that's your spotter. I need a full-time spotter. And then the main thing is that you don't waste your energy on negative people. That's the main thing. So, you know, there's a lot. I like to dumb things down a little bit. One thing that I would say, if I could react this way, it's 4 things. Ignore them. Laugh at them. They don't like it when you laugh at them. Deselect them, but live your life. Ignore them, laugh at them, deselect them, and live your life. So you need to be able to build your self-confidence. You know, you're worth it. Heck yeah, you're worth it. You know, lower your stress levels. When you find a way to not let that bother me, and you'll look back and think, I can't believe I used to let that bother me. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. I used to get so upset when that would happen. And you'll be more productive. You know, that's self-confidence and lower stress levels. You're going to be so much more productive because you're not thinking about silly stuff. You're going to do what you've decided to do without regard of judgment. So you're going to be so much more productive. And that's what we do here. I love it. So they can hump on Bobo's nose. That's what I say. I got stuff to do, and I'm excited about doing it. And here's what I'm going to wear while I'm doing it. I love it when it's my son who loves to. I mean, he'll match his hat, his shirt, and his shoes, even when we're going to, go to a metal show. It's fantastic. But I can't tell you how many times my son or my daughter have said in the last 6 months, look at that ensemble. Everything you've got is mismatched. That took a lot of skill. And, they're hacking on me. Of course, I love it. Sometimes I will actually do that on purpose to try to get a rise out of them. I love it. Laugh at it and move on. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it more than you know. Hit me up at dave@otalks.com, david@otalks.com. The emails are great. Keep them coming. I've got a couple of more coming up. In the next 2 or 3, I believe, are going to be requests. And it's usually a combination of several. So I'm going to hit that. Keep them coming. I appreciate it. Got a lot of stuff going on. Hopefully Kira is clipping away at some of these videos and more are coming out. Look forward to that. Big changes in March. So thanks so much for the support, and thanks for Talking with Dave. Giddy up.